I bet you didn't know that we have a dictator in Greece. We're talking about a government full of scandals, political assassinations. It's really, really bad. But now we have a new development. This crazy dictator, he's stealing European money, funding his own family and his own criminal activities. Let's find out what's happening. Hello, everybody. My name is Stavros. I'm a professor of international relations and an advocate of democracy. This is Black Flag Media. We are talking about democracy, peace, the rule of law, justice, accountability, transparency. This will be our topic for today. So I don't know if you have heard, maybe you've read it in Politico or in some other major news outlet, but there's a major crisis happening right now in Greece. And I wanted you to be aware about this because, maybe if you're in the EU, this affects you directly, actually. So we have a government. It's supposed to be, a government that is mainstream and it's not fringe or what have you. But this is a truly corrupt. It's one of the most corrupt. Maybe I would take a stand and say that this is the most corrupt government that Greece ever had. This is a criminal organization, according to the European Public Prosecutor, which actually she said so, that this is a criminal organization. And why did she mention this? Because the prime minister, his friends, family, he's governing with, is the epitome of nepotism and cronyism. He's governing with friends, family members, ex-girlfriends, that's really the gist of it. So the European prosecutor said that these people have been stealing billions, dozens of billions of euro from the euro funds to fund their own criminal activities and make themselves powerful, politically powerful in Greece. So this is pretty big, and they have been stealing this money from agriculture subsidies. This is the big scandal that Greece is dealing with right now. After other major scandals that we had, like the Predator scandal, when this prime minister, again, criminal, a tyrant in Athens, he had been monitoring his political opponents. This is the Nixos scandal times 100. He has been monitoring and ruling with an iron fist, blackmailing people, even his own allies and ministers. They admitted that they used this illegal tool, the Predator hacking system, to illegally monitor even his political allies in the parliament and in the government. This is really, really crazy stuff, guys. Nobody could make this stuff up. So after this, then we also had the major scandal of the Tempe, the railway accident. It wasn't an accident; it was a criminal act by this same criminal organization. They also stole money from the EU because the EU paid for some money. There was a deal with the EU to invest in the railway system. They never invested it. They never invested the money. They never used the money. They just pocketed the money, or they shared the money around to their voters so they can stay in power as I told you, as a corrupt dictator. So both of these scandals, the Tempe killing of people and the crime of the Predator monitoring scandal, we learned of this system through the European Union. Why? Because in the case of Tempe, this was European money, and in the case of Predator, Mitsotakis was actually monitoring his political opponents, who at the time were members of the European Parliament. So through the European Parliament, counter intelligence agencies, or cybersecurity agencies, we actually realized that we have a dictator, which is totally acceptable by the mainstream parties in the rest of the EU, the Ursula von der Nazi, the Nazi leader of the European Union as well. So you can imagine the level of corruption at the higher echelons of power in Berlin, France, obviously in Brussels, because all of them are in cahoots with this criminal. The European prosecutor, he's actually calling them a criminal organization. It's actually a terrorist organization, and we'll get to that a little bit later on. So now what we found out, again, through the European public prosecutor, because there's I forgot to mention this, there's no rule of law in Greece. There's no separation of powers. Greece is not a democracy. You may have heard that democracy was born in Athens, and actually, I've written a book about it. If you want to learn more about it, it's called Gods of Democracy, and you will find out all you need to know about how the Athenian democracy was born, how did it operate, and all that. You can find a link of this book down below in the description. But yes, Greece Athens founded democracy, but now Greece is not a democracy. There's no separation of powers. This dictator that we have, he personally pick and chooses and appoints the heads of the judiciary. The parliament is controlled by him because we have a parliamentarian system. So he controls the judiciary. He controls parliament. It's a crooked. It's a terrorist state. That's what we're dealing with right now. And I need your help. I need your help. That's what this video is all about. I need your help. This is a call for action against this government, which is, in essence, is killing Greek people, the citizens of Greece. So what happened is that we realized that there is no mechanism to control what is happening in this country, and that is why the European prosecutor took matters in her own hands. Since the European prosecutor she is from Romania, and she has been dealing a lot with criminal organizations and corrupt politicians in her past, so this was something that she could tackle, and she took it upon herself to deal with this new major scandal with the dozens of billions of dollars that were stolen by this criminal prime minister. His name is Mitsotakis. He's a nepotism, a corrupt family that has been stealing from our country from decades now. His sister as well was also part of this family, which is more of a criminal mafia family than an actual or normal family. So what they have been doing is through this. We have an institution which belongs to the Ministry of Agriculture, and this institution, which is called OPEKP, this is an abbreviation for an institution who takes money from the European Union, subsidies, and they give them to people who work, farmers, or people who work in pastures, so they can be subsidized, because the EU subsidizes domestic inside the EU products, like dairy and olive oil and all that. So these people work and they expect this money from the EU. That's why they're working. And instead of giving this money to the people who they had to receive it based on the animals that they had and the pastures that they owned and the fields that they worked, instead they didn't get this money. The Greek people who were eligible for this money, they never received this money. And instead of that, the criminal organization of this government, they shared this money around to the people who would vote for them. So they stole the money that was European, but it was also directed to Greek farmers. And yeah, basically they stole from both the European citizens and the Greek citizens as well, right? So this is why these people are our common enemy if you're living in the EU. That's why I'm making this video, to let you know that we have a government here who is an enemy of the state, of the people, and also of the European Union, and it has to be dealt with once and for all in the most harsh way possible, because they stole from people that were working the fields, producing wine, olive oils, whatever, olive trees, and they never got a single penny because this government stole this money. They made up products, and they made up fields and farms in Greece. Even in Mount Olympus, which is a mountainous area, there's no farm fields there. They said, yeah, we have an olive field in the highest peak of Olympus, or we have an oil field farming it in the middle of an airport, for instance. So they made up illegally. They did this whole plan, this whole this black operation inside my country to steal the money and share around this wealth to some families that could get them elected. You can imagine this was really a criminal organization. They were producing bananas in Mount Olympus. You can imagine that. Bananas obviously require a warm climate. So they were producing bananas in warm climates. They were making made up products everywhere. Even after a natural catastrophe, we had a major catastrophe with the Daniel storm, the storm named Daniel, and the storm created major problems for destroyed some parts of the country in Thessaly. And what this criminal organization did, of Mitsotakis, they said that you can ask for the government to help you and pay you back what you lost, even if you didn't have anything lost in this catastrophe. So they asked people to make up some fields that they may had and that they were destroyed during the storm, and that the government would pay you back for something you didn't have if you vote for us. So again, they stole money both from Greeks who didn't get who didn't get money based on the property that was damaged or destroyed, and also from the European Union as well. So as you can see, this is a huge scandal. Everybody needs to talk about it. Not only that, there were people who actually now started talking, and the authorities, it was the European authorities, they started tracking their phones. And by tracking their phones, they found out that there was truly a criminal organization closely linked to the prime minister, that they were stealing, they were submitting made-up farm fields and pastures to steal money from everybody, European and Greek alike, citizens. And when they started realizing that they were being monitored, they said that we should start killing people. So people who used to be friends with the prime minister, they had dinners together and all that, they were caught on tape saying that we should kill people who talk to the European prosecutor. So whistleblowers inside this organization linked to the Ministry of Agriculture, they should be killed so we don't go to jail. We're talking about an actual, a really a big criminal, or maybe a terrorist organization terrorizing people to stop talking, or else we're going to kill you. And that's what this video is all about. I want you to help us raise awareness about what's going on. Call your governments, call your MPs, everybody, your political parties, and tell them that we have a dictator here who is not only stealing from Greek citizens, but is also stealing European funds as well. And we need them to, rot in jail. That's to say the least, because of, actually threatening people to kill them. And maybe they have actually, there are some reports that some people have been targeted already. So yes, this is the video. Please like the video to help it, move around the algorithm. Share around the video if you want to help us. Like and subscribe, as always, in this channel. There's more this kind of videos coming down the pipeline. So please make sure that you're following our channel. Thank you so much for your help. Thank you so much. And please keep raising the black. Please keep fighting for freedom, accountability, legitimacy, transparency, and democracy. I'll see you in the next one. So since the European Union realized this scam, Greece has to pay a fine now of 400 million euro to the European Union, and it could get up to 600 million of euro, and we the taxpayers will be called to pay this first fine. And it's really bad, because obviously this is money that the Greek government stole, and they gave it to specific people who helped them get elected, so they should be the ones to pay, or maybe even the politicians should be the ones to pay, and maybe serve some time behind bars. So we would not. We wouldn't have to pay ourselves, the taxpayers, who we were targets and victims as well. The government stole our money as well. So help us in any way possible to raise awareness, so we don't have to pay this fine ourselves. The politicians should pay the fine, all the people who stole the money, and we can get this money back to the European Union, and we can have some accountability and legitimacy and transparency in the country and in the EU in general.